The scent of pine clung thick in the air, an earthy weight that did little to ease the sharp, unspoken tension that had become routine in our suburban life. Jane, my wife, had insisted, nearly begged, for this weekend escape. Hidden cabin in the Highlands, far from the buzz of screens and signals, was meant to be a cure for our fractured bond. She called it a chance to rediscover each other. Her glance betrayed a flicker of unease I brushed off as work-related strain. Foolishly, I chose to believe this was an olive branch, a fragile step toward repairing what already felt irreparably broken. The drive had been long, the silence between us heavier than our bags. When we finally arrived, the cabin rose from a forest of towering redwoods like a painting brought to life, simple yet welcoming. The receptionist, a woman with gentle eyes and a tag that read Brenda B., greeted us warmly, her voice carrying the practiced ease of one who thrived in hospitality. She handed me the check-in form and welcome packet. I felt the faintest flicker of hope, the first in months. "You've got a beautiful place here," I told her, meaning it. "Thank you, dear. You too. Enjoy your stay," she replied with a knowing smile, pointing toward a small desk where I could sign the form. Jane had slipped off to the restroom, her boots tapping softly against the wooden floor. I sat at the desk and began filling out the form, my pen pausing over the first few lines. Address, emergency contact, the usual. But when my eyes reached the bottom, a name leapt out at me. A name that didn't belong, Dylan. The letters screamed from page undeniable. My heart stumbled in my chest as the name carved itself into my thoughts. It wasn't the contact we always used. The fact it was here, tied to her, felt like an Arctic gust slicing through me. I swallowed hard, my throat tight as pieces fell into place. The late nights, the guarded phone, the hollow distance haunting our home, all of it suddenly made cruel, burning sense. Anger surged fast and fierce, rising from my chest like a flood. The name wasn't a mistake. It was proof, cold, damning. My gaze locked on it, unblinking, as though staring long enough could erase it. When Jane returned, she found me frozen, the clipboard trembling in my hand, my face ashen. "Is everything okay?" she asked, voice cautious, almost afraid. I didn't answer right away. Instead, I lifted the form, my fingers shaking at the name. Her eyes followed mine, landing on the word that shattered my world. Color drained from her face, her steps faltered, her hands quivered. "How could you?" My voice cracked, low and raw with betrayal. "It's not what you think," she stammered, voice faint. But the excuse collapsed under its own emptiness. The mask she wore so well crumbled at last. "Not what I think." My voice rose, each word laced with venom. "You put his name, Dylan's, as an emergency contact. Did you believe I wouldn't see that? I'd be too blind to connect the pieces?" Her eyes filled with tears, her face racked with shame. For a fleeting moment, she looked truly regretful. The sight of her sorrow only fueled the fire in me. Her tears felt rehearsed, a mockery of the honesty I had longed for. "I'm sorry," she whispered, broken. The words rang hollow, stripped of meaning. "Sorry." I snapped, my voice shaking with rage. "You're sorry now? After months of lies, after letting me believe this marriage mattered to you?" My anger was alive, wild, consuming. Every shared dream, every sacrifice, every ounce of trust now felt like a cruel joke. I had poured my soul into us, only to find it shattered by her selfish betrayal. Her lips moved, but I couldn't hear over the roaring in my ears. I couldn't bear to look at her. The cabin, the woods, the promise of healing, all of it was poison now. stage for the ruins of what we once were. I turned away, chest heaving, the weight of her betrayal crushing. It wasn't the woman I thought I knew, the partner I trusted with my heart. As I stood trembling with fury and disbelief, I knew there was no return. The wall between us was no longer invisible. It was towering, insurmountable, built from deceit and empty apologies. "I'm sorry," she whispered, her voice so faint it barely reached me, as though the weight of the moment had crushed the strength from her. I let out a bitter laugh, jagged and cutting, tearing through the charged silence between us. "Sorry," I echoed, my tone dripping with venom. "That's it. That's all you can offer. After everything, after the sham of a life we built together, sorry." My voice rose, stripped of restraint, trembling with rage. "Where's the truth, Jane? Where's the humanity? I gave you everything. Everything, and you repaid me with this." I thrust the check-in sheet forward, my hand quaking. What kind of person does this? What kind of heartless monster throws someone away so carelessly after all we endured? My anger swelled like a storm, untamable, crashing through me with violent force. My body shook, unable to contain the wrath coursing in my veins. Her lips trembled, her eyes wide, but I was past the point of caring. "Here's how this is going to go," I said, my voice a cold blade. "You'll pack your things and leave. You're no longer welcome in my life." Her face drained of color, her facade shattering as tears streamed down. For a heartbeat she looked ready to fight back, but her voice broke. "Wait, please," she begged, desperate, reaching for ground that no longer existed. I didn't let her finish. My palm slammed against the desk as I snatched the cabin key with resolve. "I'll call you an Uber," I muttered, calm but merciless. "Pack what little you brought and be gone in 5 minutes. Or I'll drag you out myself." Flinched, panic flaring across her face. "You can't do this," she whispered, her voice shattering. "I can," I shot back, icy as the chill settling in my bones. "'Cause you threw better away long ago. From here on it only gets worse. And you'll face it alone. Sink if you must. I'm done saving you." Her breath caught as she stumbled back, heels clattering against the wood before she bolted toward the cabin. For a flicker of a moment I thought of following, of saying more. But what was left to say? Her exit was punishment enough. I stood in the narrow hallway, trembling not with rage but with finality. A twisted satisfaction spread through me, watching her scurry to gather her things carried more power than any curse I could hurl. When she returned minutes later, dragging her bags, she said nothing. Her silence was louder than any plea. Followed her outside into the brisk mountain air, waiting as the Uber rolled up. I lifted her suitcase into the trunk without a word. No glance, no farewell. The trunk slammed shut, sealing the end of what we once were. As the car pulled away, I watched her vanish in the mirror's distance. It was done. For the first time in years I felt peace. Not joy, not relief, peace, hard-earned and quiet. Back inside, Brenda met me with a soft smile, her kindness a balm to my weary soul. She handed me a key to a single cabin. "We'll bring extra towels and breakfast is on us," she offered gently. "That sounds perfect," I replied, taking it with gratitude. This trip was meant to save us, but she'd never given us a chance. Now, though, I had a chance to rediscover myself, to breathe again. The weekend unfolded differently than planned. I wandered the trails, the mountain air soothing my wounded spirit. At the great fire pit, strangers shared stories and laughter, and for the first time in years I laughed too. It wasn't forced, wasn't hollow. It was real. By Sunday I was ready to leave. Not with sorrow or regret, but with quiet closure. On the drive home I didn't think of her, of where she was or who she was with. I thought of myself, of the man I'd been before her, lies, of the life ahead of me. Pulling into my driveway, the house felt changed, mine again, calm and undisturbed. I stepped inside, closed the door, and for the first time no shadows lingered. The journey here had been brutal, but as I stood in the silence of my own space, I knew one truth. I had finally reconnected with myself.